Hello and welcome to episode number 109 of the Hobbies and Happiness podcast, where we talk about the hobby that makes us happy, card games. I'm one of your host, Dan.
I'm Jim. Today we're going over one of my favorite things, the lore in card games.
One of your favorite things?
Yep.
You got to be trolling right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was obvious, Dan.
So, I was debating, right, between saying, how important is lore in TCGs or is lore important in TCGs?
Yeah.
Right? Because there are different schools of thought, what bear is best.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about, but how's it going, everybody? It's we took a week off. Sorry about that, but we're back. There's been a lot of changes going on. Mostly for me, my daughter has not been sleeping very well. It's better. It's better now, but we're still dealing with it. So I'm I just didn't want to deal with it. It was really bad last week.
It seemed better when I got here.
Yeah, it is.
I hear her singing over there.
It is better. It is better. But the other thing is I have a new job. And so my schedule has kind of been thrown off. It's all different. I'm traveling a lot. So it's been enjoyable. It's good, but it just changes some things. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay. We got to talk about our sponsor, Amazon Audible. If you head over to our affiliate link, www.audibletrial.com/hobbies and happiness, you can sign up for your free 30-day trial of Amazon's Audible service. What is Audible? It's Amazon's audiobook service. Okay, so when you follow that link, sign up, you get a free credit added to your account. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you actually get 2 free credits added to your account. You can use those free credits to redeem them for audiobooks on the service. Once you have those books, they're yours for forever, even if you cancel the service. So if you cancel that service before the end of that 30 days, you still get to keep those credits and those books on your account. So again, www.audibletrial.com/hobbies and happiness. Sign up for your free 30 trial today. Another thing, which we haven't talked about, we only mentioned this once. If you don't follow us on social media, I got this sweet Hobbies and Happiness shirt. We finally have merch.
I still need to get mine.
Why am I not surprised that you haven't even ordered it yet?
I've been having other stuff happen. I've been having other stuff financially happen.
Like that meme you sent me?
Yes. Can we post that in the video? We're gonna post that.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can post. If you're in our Discord, you can see it. You put right, or did you just send that to me?
Yeah. Wait, did I post it in Discord?
No, you just sent it to me.
I posted a different one in Discord.
Yeah, you did. You posted a different one in the Discord.
Right,
you just sent it to me. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, buying how cards are expensive.
You guys might know that new Kevin James meme that's out.
That's going around.
King of Hearts?
King of Queens.
King of Queens. That's
close enough.
Yeah, that's close. And he's just sitting at the counter in the kitchen looking all cute and adorable. And then it's when you spend $300 on a brand new deck, but it's really only one card.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand. I understand now. So anyway, if you go to our link, I'm going to try and update all of our links, and then in our videos and podcasts to have the link to our merch store. I can't remember what the link is offhand, but it's Bonfire. So our merch store is through Bonfire. So I have a lot of designs that I need to upload into the store. So right now I believe we have 3 designs. At time of recording, there's 3 designs. 2 of the designs are the logo, okay? And then one design is a new logo. Well, it's an interesting design. It's very cool. It's a lot of fun. You have to just go to the store and check it out. Yep. It's our logo, but it's different. It's different. I'll leave it at that. Slightly different. So I'll leave it at that. So go check it out. Yeah, that was fun. So we're going to be updating our store with more merch designs. So we've got a lot that I got to get updated, right? So if you want to represent and support Hobbies and Happiness, go check out their merch store. Yes. Buy some stuff. So all right. So today. So before we get in, is there anything else that I'm forgetting that All right. I mean, I guess I'll tell everybody. All right. So it's what we were talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I have been very hard at work. As you may have noticed, we've been pretty quiet with the content, right? Yeah. And that's partly because I don't have a lot of time to spend editing videos. Number one. Number two, we don't have the capital necessary to actually hire an editor. Okay. And editors deserve to be paid because they do very good work. It's a lot of work and it's hard work, right? It might not be hard to some people, but it's time consuming, right? So I don't want to get an editor and say, hey, we can't really pay you. I don't really feel comfortable doing that, right? Yeah. So I have been very hard at work, okay, at getting our studio and stream set up to work almost like I don't need post-production. So I've been hard at work at programming a lot of functions, we'll say, into our live stream setup. And then I'm working with a programmer friend of mine on a side. I guess it's not a side project. It's like a main big deal project. Yeah. So we'll talk about it when it's ready.
It's an asset for this business.
It is 100%. So Jim unfortunately was not here. What happened, Jim?
All right, so this happens a couple times every now and again.
It does.
Right? It really depends on how tired I am.
It does.
So
hang on. Now, real quick, okay? Like, when you did this, I was not surprised, okay? Because with your schedule, I understand. So Jim works overnights, essentially, okay?
Yeah.
So, and if you've ever worked an overnight shift, okay, for an extended period of time, you can understand that it's very hard to keep track of regular time, essentially, okay? So that's kind of what happened, right? And so when it happened, it's funny because my wife was like, is Jim coming? I'm like, I think so, but I'll bet you anything he passed out. I'll bet you anything that's what happened, right? And like, I wasn't upset. I'm like, I understand that it happens. Yeah. So anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
So for me, pretty much my alarms are always set every single 15 minutes. So on my phone, I have it for anywhere from midnight all the way to 15 minutes till midnight. All those time frames in between.
And then you just turn them on or off?
So, I turn them off. Yeah, I set it every single day. It was just, I get home and I know I have to go to sleep to prepare for the night.
Sure.
And I'm going through it, but I'm at the top still. So I'm like, all right, cool. There's 7 o'clock. Click, click. I do like my 2 or 3 alarms set.
Yeah.
And then I wake up, it's 9 o'clock. And I'm like, what happened? I'm like, oh my God, it's 7 a.m. I've done that for work before.
Oh no.
Yeah. Luckily my body woke me up. I was like 30 minutes late to work.
Oh man.
30 minutes to an hour. And I was like, hey, I'm on my way.
Wow. All right. So anyway, that's what happened. So my buddy came over, showed me what he was working on. It was essentially a proof of concept, right? Which I knew that's what it was. And he's been really hard at work at it, right? Yeah. And when he showed it to me, I'm like, yes, F&A, it works. It basically, it's very, very possible. Yeah. Okay. And so I was so excited. Yeah. And the response time was like, so you guys don't even know what it is, right? I'm just excited, right? I'm just so excited, right?
It's super cool.
It is super cool, and it's going to be extremely, extremely helpful, and it has a lot of applications. Yeah. So that's one of the things. And so anyway, when he was over, I'm like, Jim, where are you at? Right? Because I want to show him, but you didn't necessarily need to be here, right? So we went over a lot of stuff, but anyway, long story short, that's one of the things we've been working on, and I've been very hard to work on. I'm almost done. I've got just a few other things to program on my end, and then we're just going to be back to just like streaming, recording that. So it's essentially what I'm working on is I'm making it much easier from a post-production side, okay? Yeah. I don't like putting out content that people can't really understand what's going on and it doesn't look very good. So I have a very high bar, and I understand that puts me at that's detrimental because it means stuff doesn't get done. I'm okay with that, right? So anyway, we've got stuff. It's coming. All right, guys, it's coming. So anyway, that's the other. I guess that's. I've been hard at work. It's been fun. Okay, let's get into the topic. Okay,
Yes.
guys, I'm sorry. This is very weird because it feels like we haven't been doing this for a while.
I know.
It's only been like like 2 weeks. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, because we took off.
I think it's got to be
just
just my job just is really messing with me. In a good way. In a good way. It's all good. It's all good. So anyway, today we are talking about lore and if it's important in TCGs. Okay, I know there's a lot of people who are when we talked with Dan, Main Deck Dan. Okay, we had this conversation with him. I don't remember if we had this if we asked him this question during the. Actually, I think this was afterwards. I think this was after our interview. We were just hanging out and chatting.
Oh, right.
And I basically just asked him if it's important, and his response was like he kind of chuckled a little bit, but then was like, I mean, I think the obvious answer is yes. I'm like, okay. I mean, I agree with him, but he had some
I
interesting.
thought the obvious answer was no, but my bad.
He went into some interesting things. Okay. But the reason that I want to talk about this topic today, okay, is the main reason is Alpha Clash.
Yes.
Okay, I've got the novel here. The novel Kickstarter recently surpassed $100,000. Right. So I finished this book not that long ago. Phenomenal book. I really enjoyed the story. I still have questions that I need to answer about this book as well. Somebody was asking me, so I still haven't done that. I need to do that.
You got a rulings question?
No, not a rulings question, but essentially a survey. It's essentially a survey, and there's a lot of different things to go over. So, I've got to do that. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay. Yeah. In reading through the book, okay, there were a lot of times where, because I know the card pool very well for Alpha Clash, okay, and I'm reading through a lot of these spots, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what's on this card, okay, multiple times, okay, good example, okay, Garfield Park Lagoon, okay. I don't have one, but essentially it's a clash ground, okay? Yep. And I think I pointed this out to you, okay? Yep. But in that card, okay, in the middle of that art piece, okay, you can see a person, okay? You can see somebody falling into the lagoon, okay? There's a story part to that, right? I know who that is. Like, if you don't know, that's Curtis. That's a mean streak who's being thrown into Garfield Park Lagoon, okay? There were so many aha moments that I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Now, what does that do? What does that do? Like, for me, like, that helps immerse you in the story, right? So the novel is, the main reason I wanted to talk about this topic, okay? Now, we talked about, as we were going through our outlines, okay, of past episodes, okay, for the podcast. Episode number 6, storytelling over the tabletop.
No, that wasn't that long ago.
Episode 6. Do you remember that?
No. There's so many of these I don't remember.
So many. So I'm pretty sure this episode was done at the condo at the kitchen table. I'm pretty sure that's where we talked about this. 100%. We had to have been. It had to have been. It had to have been. Right. So anyway, in this episode, which if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Okay. It was a good conversation.
Dude, these are great thumbnails. I ain't gonna lie.
They were, yeah. Okay. So why we think storytelling is important, because essentially lore is storytelling, right? Yeah. So in that episode, I have like 4 different things. Number 1, it helps immerse you in the game itself or the world. Number 2, it helps keep you engaged with the game, like I just said, right? Yep. Number 3 was escape reality. And then the 4th one, some people relate to fictional characters as their, quote, heroes, unquote, and look up to them, a la sports legends like Michael Jordan. So those are the 4 things of why we said storytelling, we thought it was important, right? In tabletop games, right? Yep. Like 100%, right? But again, I'm reading through Alpha Clash, and I'm like, this Like that hits on everything that I'm kind of going through, right?
Yeah.
Number one, help immerse you in the game itself or the world. Like that has got to be the biggest key point. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about like the intersection of lore and TCGs in particular. Okay. Now, Jim, you started playing TCGs. Okay. When you started playing TCGs, what was your first TCG?
Technically, it was Pokemon.
Okay. Why did you start playing Pokemon?
Because I was
The Pokemon
a
TCG.
child when Pokemon first hit the U.S. and it was sent to me.
Okay. What was your next one?
Well, even though I technically didn't really play the TCG, right?
Yes.
Like no one knew how to play the card
Nobody
game.
knows how to play the game.
Anyone who says they did went to Toys R Us to play in an event, they are lying to you. Okay.
Shots fired.
My first TCG I did really play though was Yu-Gi-Oh! In May 2002.
Why did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Wait a second. Before you answer this, okay? Were you watching the anime?
Yes, I did watch the show. I don't remember if I watched the show and then got into the card game or if it was just like I'm going down the
rabbit
the
hole
toy aisle at a store and I see it.
Okay.
It's hard for me.
Because it was a while.
It's hard for me to
ago.
remember.
It was a while ago. Understood.
I just know that it was roughly the same thing, and then I got into the game on my birthday.
Okay.
In 2002. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those reasons that you started playing the game were basically they had nothing to do with the IP itself, essentially.
No, I didn't even know what it was.
Okay. What was the next TCG you played?
The next card game was Duel Masters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you get into that?
Why did I?
Because again, you were a kid.
Yeah.
You were a kid with all this.
Yeah, I was a kid for all of these.
All right.
I was probably in like 6th grade playing that one. And I guess it was I liked the cards and I also did watch the show.
Okay.
And the show's hilarious. Like it's they poke a lot of fun and break fourth walls a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it's weird. During one of the episodes, he's sitting on the bus and you hear him talking to himself and he's like, "Wait, why am I going in slow motion? What is this? What is this voice in my head?"
Nice.
So it was just a cool show. And I just started playing it. And it's actually the game that got me to respect Magic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. But you weren't playing Magic at the time.
No, I didn't play Magic for a bunch more years afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was actually the catalyst as to why I even got into Magic.
Okay.
Semi into it.
Okay.
But after that, then it was Cardfight Vanguard for a bunch of years.
Okay.
And then I got into Magic.
Okay. So I want to ask you, because I mean, you're the reason you play card games normally doesn't ever depend on the lore itself. You normally don't care about the lore, correct?
No.
Okay. So what does the lore in any of these games mean to you?
The lore to me kind of mean it allows me to view the characters in other ways and continuing their lives, I guess.
Okay.
But other than that, it doesn't really mean anything to me. Because you look at Pokemon lore versus the card game. I mean, it's all different.
The big three, like I think we do have to put the big three in a category all in its own.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of those are first to market. Right.
Yes.
And when you're first to market, for the most part, you can kind of do whatever you want for the most part. Right. Yeah. I say that very loosely. Right. Yeah. Do whatever you want. Right?
So for me, it was Pokemon, which lore didn't really matter. Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I guess it really didn't, because I mean, I remember playing the game. Like the reason I played the game wasn't because I wanted to catch them all. It was just it was fun. It was a fun game. It was a novelty at the time. It was the first thing that, oh hey, I have these things and they're going and battling and like I didn't care. Like I cared about what was going on, but I wasn't playing because I cared about what was going on.
Yeah.
I played because it was fun.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable, and it was like the first of its kind type thing.
Yeah. And then you look at Yu-Gi-Oh! And season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is, it's technically the first season, but people consider it 0 because it's not a card game really at all.
Right.
Which makes season 0 makes 0 sense. You get into season 1 and they don't even follow the rules at all.
Okay.
They follow 0 of the rules. So it was, okay, that part didn't matter to me.
Okay.
And at that point, I was already into card games. So it was like just going into the future of the rest of the card game is like, all right, I'm just paying attention to the mechanics of the cards or the visuals of it and then just like getting into it. So anything else that really had a show, it would just be like, all right, I'd watch Vanguard or I'd watch Duel Masters because it was a funny show.
Right.
Or I enjoyed it. Vanguard does a really good job of taking the rules of their game and throwing it into their show as well. So you can actually learn how to play the game from it.
Right.
But yeah, I was already into the TCG world. So I didn't need that like extra little bridge of, oh, I'm watching this show and then get into a game.
And the other thing too is I want this conversation to be like how important it is now. Because I think now when you talk about TCGs, and we've talked about the TCG quote renaissance, and we're going to be talking about that for a while because I've got a lot of different guests that I want to talk about this topic with. Okay. But we talk about this renaissance, right? And TCGs now, okay, when you talk about TCGs now in 2023, we didn't talk about them in the same way back in 2000, right? Or in the mid to late 90s, right? That was the time of, hey, we're all testing on ideas, right? And that's when you got the big three.
We'll call the early 2000s the dark ages.
The dark ages. Games. Yeah. So now it's like you have to be different. If you want to compete with the big three, you have to do something different, right? You have to make people care about your game. How do you make people care about your game? If everyone's competing from a standpoint of mechanics, I mean, that's going to be a very tough battle, right? You have to make people care about your game, right? And how do you do that? Like, I think lore is one of the biggest and best ways you can make people care. Why? It helps keep them engaged to your game and your IP, your intellectual property. And then it's that emotional connection. It's developing that emotional connection, okay? So I want to talk about this through the lens of a couple different games, okay? We talked about Alpha Clash. I want to talk about Alpha Clash. I want to talk about Star Wars Unlimited, okay? And I also want to talk about Disney and Lorcana, okay? Because two of these games are already very, very big IPs. There have been a multitude of Star Wars TCGs, okay, through the years, okay? Maybe not a multitude. There's been a few.
A good amount.
There's been a good amount. Have they all been successful? No, they have not all been successful for one reason or another. Okay,
because they're bad.
Well, but here's the thing. I think a lot of the reasons those games failed was, I mean, management. Like, well, basically we'll say management. Like Star Wars CCG fell through because there were issues with, from my understanding, it was the company at large. There were issues from like licensing and corporate management and who was holding on to it. Again, I'd never played the Star Wars CCG, but from the research that I've done from people who've talked to me about it, that's kind of was the thing. Star Wars Destiny, manufacturing issues with the dice, and not necessarily issues with the dice, but how do you get dice into packs? And it was kind of a mess. It's a manufacturing nightmare in all
Put
honesty.
a little cardboard triangle in there to slant the pack a little bit so you protect the cards, and then you put the die in the corner. It wasn't a good setup.
No. It's just thinking about it makes me have a headache.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were other games throughout the years as well, right? Yeah. But I think no one would argue the fact that Star Wars is one of the largest IPs in the entire world.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Star Wars let's separate because yes, Disney does own the Star Wars name now. Okay, but let's separate out Star Wars from Disney.
Yeah.
Is Star Wars an IP? Is Star Wars as an IP, okay, more popular than Disney, the Disney brand, without Star Wars? Okay, so and think about Disney by itself, not Marvel, not anything else, just Disney. Yeah. Okay, do you think do you think Star Wars, the Star Wars IP, is more popular than the Disney IP?
I really don't think so, but it's also difficult to say.
I mean, again, both of these are global IPs.
Yeah,
both these are globally recognized.
Man, I don't know.
I know. It's kind of close. I mean, so, I don't think there are any other IPs that hold a candle to Disney or Star Wars.
So Disney is known worldwide.
Yes.
Star Wars is known throughout the entire universe.
All right, that settles it. All right, I think we have a
so also Disney's been around for how long?
100 years.
100 years. Star Wars is from like a bunch of years in the future, but also somehow in the past.
So it's an IP that spans galaxies and spans time itself.
Yes.
All right. I think it's clear that we have a clear winner.
Disney's not even close.
We have a clear winner. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think those are three big ones because we have Star Wars Unlimited, which comes out March 2024. We have a release date, March of 2024.
Sick.
Okay. And then Disney Lorcana, okay, which they're working. Rise of the Floodborn's the next set. I know we haven't done a lot of Disney Lorcana content recently, okay? I'm sorry. I apologize, okay?
It's like, to be honest, we haven't really been doing a lot of content.
Anything, yes. All right? So it's not a Lorcana thing, all right? All right? But don't worry. We're going to be getting gameplay, all right? We're going to be getting gameplay, okay? We got it. All right, we got it.
We also got this other card game we've been liking.
There's a lot of stuff, all right? Okay, so anyway, okay. So those are like two interesting like case studies, right? Yeah. And then Alpha Clash, because it's a game that I've been playing, I've been getting into, and being transported with this story is a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay. And so and I really want to start talking about this because of the novel itself, right? This book has made me fall more in love with the game itself and the story because it's just I want to know now. I want to know what happens next. Like after I finish this, I'm like Ridge, dude, I have so many questions. Okay,
find out next time.
Yeah, like my mind's been blown. Yeah. Like I know all of these cards. Like Here Comes the Boom is a literal line in this book. Okay, and like it puts it in context. This book has put so many of those cards in context. Yeah. And I love it, right? Again, it's number one, the emotional connection, okay? And then the second thing... So
you saying books are better with pictures? Imagine if they mixed like making like a book with...
Oh, you mean a graphic novel? Yeah, they have that too.
Huh. That'd be cool.
If you haven't, you need to go check out the Kickstarter. Okay, so you do need to go check out the Kickstarter. You can back it for as little as like $10, and I think you get the ebook. I think it's either that or the lowest is $25, and you get the soft cover. You get the soft cover, but you also get the digital. You also get the ebook. Okay.
Don't ask how Dan got that book.
Hey, this book was sent to me.
And signed.
It's
not signed.
No, it's not signed. I would love to get this book signed. But yeah, this book was sent to me, and so thank you, Ridge and team. Appreciate it. I know I've already told you thank you, but appreciate it. I loved it. I love the book.
You know what I just thought about? When we met Ridge at Gen Con, why don't we get him to sign a card?
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see you again. We'll see you again. But seriously, now that I've read this book, like I'm hooked.
Yeah,
and that's how you get people hooked on forget your game. It's just your characters, and then once they're connected to your characters, okay, then they are like, okay, you've got them hooked, and now they want to know what's next. And now it's like, okay, you care about these characters. Here, you can do many more different things with these characters, and it keeps you connected to the story that you already enjoy, that you love. Okay, I think this novel was brilliant. It was brilliant. Okay, this keeps the current community engaged. Okay, enjoying the story. Okay, and this helps bring in more and more people. So, again, for me, I've answered the question. So for me, the answer is 100%. It's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's only positive. There is no negative. I don't think there's a negative to it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I understand there are people like Jim who just, it doesn't appeal to them, right? Which is fine. Has lore ever appealed to you, like, for any game?
So I just have a problem with games in general.
Okay.
Right. So even video games, I kind of just skip all the cutscenes and tend to have the volume all the way down. So I never even hear the background music, any of the other stuff that's happening. And I'm skipping everything. So I'm just like, okay, I want to go kill stuff, level up my character, get these new abilities. So lore has pretty much never mattered to me. Except in one game. Guitar Hero?
Guitar Hero. That's actually a good point. Kind of is. It's like, oh, I want to play that song. All right.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, that's like the only one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I've been working on it. The last 2 years I've gotten better, and I'm literally forcing myself to watch cutscenes and have volume on games. And I've been playing through Final Fantasy games, so it's
now,
rough though.
Have you ever played? Okay, but you haven't played God of War, have you?
No.
The newer God of War games, dude. When I played through the newest
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. So Ragnarok and even God of War 4, right? Or just titled God of War for PS4, okay? And maybe it's because I'm a dad and I have a son, okay? Like, dude, that story, that story just pulled me so much. And it was such an emotional and powerful story, okay? And I mean, I when we talked about this storytelling episode, right? It just reminded me of video games nowadays and the emphasis not on gameplay or graphics, but telling a good story. Okay. Because even back in the day, like Metroid is actually a good example of storytelling, right? Because when you find out, what's the name? It's Samus. Samus, yes. Samus is a girl. Like, people were like, what? She's like, if that was the point in that game, right? Like, that was the climax, the climactic moment of finding out Samus is a girl, right? And again, that just goes to storytelling, right?
Can you imagine if Zelda was a girl? That would have been crazy.
All right, I'm going to let that go.
All right.
All right. So I just want to ask you, like, what's your opinion from lore, from how important do you think lore is for TCGs? Because we'll talk about Star Wars and Lorcana here in a minute, but I just want to get your, like, what do you think?
So it definitely seems it's a lot more important now, especially if you're not taking a big IP.
And that's where I want to talk about the big IPs, because I think that's different,
because it already has a built-in. The lore has already been around for
you have a big fan base already, right? But that's not enough. Like, we know it's not enough, right? But if you're an unknown IP,
you got to get people emotionally attached.
And so, like, if you take Star Wars Unlimited or Disney Lorcana, okay, now let's talk about Flesh and Blood. Okay, if you have a new TCG player, you have somebody who says, hey, I want to get into TCGs. I'm not sure what's out there, guys. You tell me, okay? and you say, hey, there's Magic the Gathering, there's Flesh and Blood, then there's Star Wars Unlimited, and there's Disney Lorcana. You tell them all about the games, right? I mean, Disney Lorcana probably the simplest of those four. Then you probably have, honestly, Star Wars Unlimited would probably be the next next complicated, and then Flesh and Blood and Magic.
Yeah.
Like those are both kind of equally as complicated, right?
Yeah.
So you tell them all about those games, right? They know nothing about Magic. They know nothing about Flesh and Blood. Okay,
Yeah.
they don't know the story, the characters, nothing. Okay, they know Star Wars. They know Disney. Okay. What do you think their choice is going to be? Do you think, are they more likely to go with a game where there's already an IP and story and characters that they already know and have that attachment to? Or are they going to be like, I know nothing about these games, but let's go with those.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
Ooh.
Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of variables. Okay, everybody's different. I understand that, right? But I think generally speaking, do you think most people would tend to pick the game that they already have that emotional connection to?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to, right? It's like,
right.
What are you going to be drawn more towards? Like something you're already comfortable with, or something you know literally nothing about?
Correct.
I mean, you're going to go towards the thing you're at least somewhat comfortable with. You know.
Correct.
Now, if it was up to me, and I'm trying to, this person really wants to get into card games after not knowing anything about them, right? I'd be like, I'm starting you off with Magic. We're going to be going down this rabbit hole of finding out what kind of player you are, what kind of
are you a Timmy? Are you a Johnny?
I would be a TCG life coach of trying to find out what is the best game for you to play.
which is a good way of doing it. And honestly, that's probably how both of us would be, in all honesty, right?
It's like,
because we have that experience and we know kind of what's
I need to find out what kind of player are you. Do you like to just not have someone mess with your stuff on your turn? Okay, these aren't the games
these
for
aren't
you.
the games for you.
And you know you like the soft, cool anime art styles or whatever it is.
Right.
You know, it would be a completely different rabbit hole if I was trying to find out the perfect game for them.
Correct. But I think the whole notion, right, of saying that lore is not important, I think. So do you think it ever was not important? Do you ever think it didn't really matter? Because I think back in the day it probably didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, because again, like that's your day zero, right? Everyone's trying to who has the best idea. I don't think it's about who has the best idea anymore.
Magic didn't have lore until the Elder Dragons came out.
What talking about? They had Timmy. They had Timmy. Come on,
man.
Didn't they have Urza? I don't even know when
Legends came out.
Legends,
that's when the Elder Dragons came out.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Legends.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a couple years or a couple sets. I don't even know when Legends came out.
So I think this entire conversation really just boils down to really one thing. You have to make people care about your game and your characters.
Yeah.
You have to make people care, okay? And like the way to do that is have continuing story. Like again, I think lore with Magic is a category all unto itself, right? It's because it's been going on for 30 years now. Like it's a game that's been going for 30 years. It has first mover advantages.
Yep.
You can't talk about the big three like you talk about any other TCG.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
It's difficult.
Because there are things that each one of those games do that I feel like if any game did now, it's like, no, I'm not going to play because it's been done before.
Yeah. Because you look even at the Dark Ages. Well, I don't know how much I should talk about it, but it's like, you know, you look at all the games that came out then, and there were big IPs, right?
Yeah.
Like Digimon was a big IP then. Dragon Ball was a big IP then. There were other
and both of those have new games now.
Both of them have new games.
Those have new games.
They were cooking, all right? Let them cook.
Yeah. So I think they learned. Those games learned good lessons. Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of people involved in TCG design learned a lot of valuable lessons from those days back then. Okay. And have now applied them to new games now. Okay. Like for me, it's so weird because like I've been excited about Lorcana. Like with Lorcana, I was excited because it was my childhood now with a card game, right?
Yeah.
It's my childhood in a card game, right? And I think that was why that was one big reason that a lot of people were excited about Lorcana. Okay. Is you get to see, and I now with the Rise of the Floodborn set, they are bringing in Great Mouse Detective in this set. I'm so stoked. One of my favorite movies. Okay. I've talked about that for like a year. I'm pretty sure I've been saying Great Mouse Detective for like a year, right? When we first started talking about Lorcana.
Oh, and real quick, I found out. So Legends came out June 94.
Okay.
But right before that was Antiquities.
Oh, Antiquities.
And that was the stuff with
right?
Urza.
Yes.
Which was March of 94. So 1 year after the release, they started coming out with lore stuff.
Well, I mean, when they had like Urza is still a big piece in Magic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I mean. So Magic came out in 93. Antiquities came out March of 94. So yeah, it was a couple months after.
Yeah.
It's not like they had lore.
Right. Yeah. So, right. So, I don't think you can answer this question like, is lore important in TCGs, right? Without saying yes. Like, if you say no, I would ask you, why do you think that? I think, again, if you want to be successful, right, you have to make people care about your game. And if you're only attacking we're going to have the most mechanically sound game out there, I don't think you're going to win. Because I don't think any game is 100% mechanically sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Magic has its flaws.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Pokemon has its flaws. Yeah. All of these games have their flaws. And if that's all you're going to focus on, you're going to fail. In all honesty, this kind of reminds me of what I'm doing right now with the whole stream. Like I'm narrowly focused on one thing, right? Yeah. And if I don't start doing other things, like I know I'm going to lose, but that's a whole other thing, right? Every game is going to have its weaknesses. Okay. You have to embrace those. Okay. Because again, that's not what people are going to care about the most. It's not going to be the mechanics. I mean, you and I talk a lot about mechanics of what mechanics we enjoy, right? Yeah. But why do you stay with a game? It's not 100% mechanics, right?
No.
Okay.
A lot of the time, it's also based upon the community that's playing it.
Sure.
Just the people around me.
Sure.
Because there can be games that I absolutely love to play, but if no one around me is playing it, or, I get a couple people to play it and it just slowly does nothing, I mean, I'm not going to keep playing it.
Yeah. And you got to get the majority of people to care about your game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do that just in mechanics alone. Right. Yeah. So this book was really, for me, it was a big eye opener because I've said this before. This novel and Alpha Clash as a game, it's the first time that I've really actively cared and sought out information on the lore of a game. Yeah. And I'm actively interested in it. Magic never cared about it. Okay. And there's other games where I'm like, I just want to sit down and have a good time. And like, I'll play it, right? But I've never I never had that emotional investment. I have that emotional investment with Magic just because, again, like we have a group of guys and we have commander pods and, that's the emotional investment. The emotional investment is not, hey, I'm attached to these characters, right? Yeah. I have a different emotional attachment now to Alpha Clash that I do not have with other games, okay? Yeah. Disney Lorcana, I have that emotional attachment because of the Disney name and my childhood, right? I am emotionally attached to many of those characters, okay? Star Wars, okay? Another thing, now with Star Wars, okay? We've, Ahsoka just wrapped up season 1, okay? The new series. Good show. I enjoyed it. Have you watched it?
No.
No? Okay. I mean, you enjoy Star Wars, but like you're not a...
I like Star Wars, but
you don't consume every piece of Star Wars media that's out there, correct?
No.
Okay. All right. So with the recently, they've been spoiling a lot for the first set, right? Yeah. And there were characters. Okay.
I was about to say, no, I have a life. Sorry. I
Shots fired.
chuckled a little bit. I was like, I gotta say it.
All right, so they have some characters that I hadn't heard of. Okay, Sabine Wren, Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger. I didn't know who those characters were. Okay, I'll be straight up. I didn't know. I haven't watched there's a lot of Star Wars shows out there. Okay, I started watching the Clone Wars. Okay, good show. I'm enjoying it. Okay, that's when we meet Ahsoka Tano for the first time and get introduced to her as a character. Okay, Star Wars Rebels. Okay, is another show that I will watch. Okay. Because they're introduced other characters. Okay. But in all honesty, I was like, I'm probably not wanting to get into this stuff if not for Star Wars Unlimited. Because when I saw Ezra Bridger, Kanan Jarrus, Sabine Wren, I'm like, hey, where are these from? I want to know. Yes. Sabine?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the leader or the
yes.
Okay.
The leader.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the regular unit does.
I can't remember what the unit does. But anyway, when I saw those characters, it actively it made me want to know more about those characters. Okay. So because of the game, like I'm already connected to Star Wars Unlimited because dude, that game is so much fun. I've had so much fun with that game. I cannot wait for this game to come out. Okay. We will be playing it on this table. Guys, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on this table with Star Wars Unlimited. Let me tell you, I'm excited. I'm excited to get some of those Star Wars Unlimited playmats and put them here. Oh, guys, it's going to look phenomenal. All right. But anyway, I wanted to know more about these characters because of Star Wars Unlimited, because of that game. Okay. So again, lore, immensely important. Okay. That emotional connection is huge. Now, Jim, I have a question for you. Do you think a card game can be successful if it does not actively make you want to care about the characters? Like if it does not put resources into telling you a good story. Okay. Because I think everyone can universally agree that storytelling is extremely important in media, in gaming. Okay. So do you think from a TCG, again, outside of the big three, and not talking about the big three, okay, can a TCG be successful if they do not focus on telling you a good story with their characters?
I want to say yes, but I do think it would take some time. I don't think it would just be like, everyone would just instantly love your game. It would be more of, you get some people to play, they enjoy certain things about it, and it just grows over time. Because I was also thinking, there's a lot of times where you're playing these cards and you're just like, oh, I really love this card. You don't know anything about the character. You just know that this is one of your favorite cards in the game. It happens for me all the time, and also cards that I hate, which I actually came across the other day. I almost ripped them up, dude.
What?
I almost ripped up Vampire Nighthawk. I almost ripped them up. I had 2 copies. I almost ripped them up.
Yes.
I almost did.
Yes.
And,
great.
And so it's like, you can still get these attachments to these characters or the cards, even if there isn't a lore based upon it. It's just, it would take time. So
it would be a lot harder. It's going to take time and a lot of effort too.
Doable, but yes. Yeah.
How doable? Like, do you, is it doable?
Well, I say doable. It's just going to take
feasible.
Time though. Yeah. I do think it's feasible. It's just, again, it's going to take time and work for putting work into other things to make the game successful versus you just.
So continuing on,
continuing
off of that though, I don't think I'm going to say no, because let's follow, like if we follow that train though, if you're not profiting, if it's not profitable, how long can you continue that though? So I agree with what you're saying, right? But the reason I would say no is just because you can only continue that for so long before you can't physically do it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things. So you're right. Like I agree with what you're saying. It's just like the reality of it. I don't know if it's realistically possible though. So like I said, I think you're right. It's just how realistic is that? That's the thing. So
yeah, I mean, at first it
for a
would
lot of
just be
these-
like you'd have to get into the hands of people where lore doesn't matter, and then like it would be a lot of word of mouth of getting people into it, of being like, hey, yo, check out this game like that. But that's about it. I mean, you have no other way to really be building the community. So
right.
it would be difficult.
Yeah. So. I agree. So, yeah. So with Alpha Clash, I think Alpha Clash is doing a phenomenal job.
Just do marketing like Raid Shadow Legends, and then you'll be fine.
Raid Shadow Legends. Hashtag not sponsored.
They're successful because they put more money into marketing than they have their game.
Well, dude, and that's the thing. Like, I'm curious, like, how much of a company's annual budget is spent on marketing? Because I know people spend a ton of money on marketing, right? But then it's like, well, what are you marketing, right? Yeah. And when you have a story to market, that's a whole lot easier from a marketing standpoint, right? Yeah. Than it is, hey, we untap cards in this card game, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, we don't have lands.
Yeah, but even like you look at Raid Shadow Legend, they're putting these characters there in your face forever, pretty much, and be like, hey, get attached to this character. Get annoyed by this character. I don't care. Go check out the game.
Yes, so true.
Go get him killed in the game.
And then he'll come back and you can kill him again. Oh, dude, that is so true. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's just like different avenues for you to be doing it.
Sure. Yeah. So should every indie TCG have a novel?
I don't know, dude. I can't even read my cards, man. Like it's
all I know is I think what Ridge and the team have done with this is such a good move. Like it's such a good move, right? Yeah. Now it's not, and the thing is too is I know that they weren't necessarily even targeting like the TCG community, right? They're just targeting anyone who likes to read a good book, right? And again, it's getting your story, getting your characters into as many different hands as possible, right? Yeah. And so like with a product like this, right, what you can do is instead of, hey, we're already targeting the TCG community with the game itself, right? And yes, we want them to actively care about the game. Let's use this vehicle of a novel to get them to care about it, right? But then you have different forms of mediums, right? Of, hey, here's a book. Here, book readers, take a look at this good story. And now you have let's say they do a video game or a TV show or a movie. Yeah. You have these different groups of people who like these different mediums, right? Yeah. Engaging over the same world.
Yeah.
It's good. So
who's your favorite character of Alpha Clash?
Oh, you would ask. That's a good question.
That's why they paid me the big price.
I really like Curtis, Mean Streak.
Of course you would.
Why? Why would you say that?
Of course you do.
I don't. Why would you say that? Because
he's a noob.
He's a noob.
I mean, you like bad cards. I don't know what else to throw out there.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think Curtis has a lot of good character development in this book. Yeah. He's a very lovable. Yeah, he's like that anti-hero almost, but then turns into a good guy. I like him. He's a really cool character, right? Yeah. Torque is a homicidal maniac freak.
He sounds like a great character.
Dude, like his power is actually really interesting and really cool. The way they fleshed it out in the book is really cool. Like the way they explained it, neat. I liked it. Kagan, yeah, that guy's a douche.
D-bag?
Yeah, he is. Kagan, yeah, no.
Well, we already know that. He literally kills stuff.
Yeah, he does. True. Very true. Cal Lang's another character I found myself liking.
Yeah. He seems cool.
Haven, she's such a cute kid, and there's a lot to know about Haven. Yeah. Really interesting character, Haven is. Clarity, Yeah, she's yeah. There's a lot that happens to Clarity in this book. Let me tell you. But she is
Clarity dies. Spoilers.
Clarity is a very interesting character.
Yeah.
Okay. What is her contender card? It's Clarity. I can't remember what the sub name is. I can't remember, but she's been around for a very long time, right? Clearly, and I think her it's interesting because I think her ability on her contender speaks very well to who her character is. It's really cool. I love the way that Ridge and the team really made the cards really good versions of the characters themselves and what they do. It's it was really cool. Like it made me, this book really helped make me appreciate what Ridge and the team has done in making the cards and the game itself, because it's clear after reading this that they're trying to build a world and they have all of these unique and interesting characters. Okay. Yeah. It's good. I've enjoyed it, but yeah, Curtis probably would be my favorite main character.
All right. So you're saying Torque is a bad guy.
Yes.
Flare is a bad guy.
Flare. Yes.
Yes. Flare is a bad guy. Do we know if in the next set War is a bad guy?
Well, he's one of the harbingers. So he's like one of the 4 horsemen.
So is he a bad guy?
Is he a villain? I don't know. I do think that the harbingers, are the main one of the main antagonists. Yeah. So yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
So why are all 3 of the red contenders bad guys?
The characters. Let's see. What other characters?
Machina is a bad guy.
Machina. Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Because red is the color of evil.
No, it's not. Red is the color of passion.
Okay. All right. Whatever you say. All right. You have any other questions about the lore with Alpha Clash? Or my thoughts? Because you were the one who just brought up the questions.
I don't know. I just had it. I don't know if I have anything else.
I do. I really do like Curtis as a character. Yeah. And then if I had to, I like Haven. Yeah, I honestly, Cal Ling's probably the next one that would be behind Curtis. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'd pick. So, all right. Well, we're going to move on now to the card of the week. Okay. Actually, before we do that, let's kick it to you guys. Okay. What do you think? All right. I'm curious what you all think, if you think lore is important in TCGs or not.
Turtle Dude, let us know, man.
Yes. He will. 100%. We know he's going to. Turtle Dude, I know you're going to have a lot of thoughts on this.
His name is Patrick, right?
Yes, it is. It is Patrick.
Oh, I just
doxed
him.
How dare you? Yeah, Turtle Dude, let us know. But seriously, guys, let us know what you think. Leave us a comment down below. Shoot us an email if you're very passionate about this topic, because this is again, I really think nowadays in TCGs it's much more important than it used to be. Okay, because again, the big 3, they're not going anywhere, but it doesn't really matter.
You know what I think would be cool to see in a card game?
What?
We have a Lord of the Rings card game, and like they have this one ring that they could make like a special, variant. I don't know, like Elvish or something.
Hey Jim.
What?
I think they already did that.
What?
And I think Post Malone bought the card for
$2.6
million.
Okay, I mean, it would be cool to have that,
Maybe that should have been the card of the week.
One day.
But alas, that is not the card of the week. And now we're going to talk about the card of the week. This has been a really weird episode just because it's been
all over the place.
It's been kind of all over the place. But okay, so we just got done talking about lore, right? Yes. And now we're going to talk about a game where I don't really know much of the lore. Because this game we started playing last week. This game is all over the place. This game is all over the place, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, this game is fun. It's from Shadowverse Evolve. Okay.
Good thing the lore doesn't matter for this game.
Does the lore matter for any anime TCG?
No. The waifus do. The anime waifus matter.
All right. So this is from Shadowverse Evolve. We played like every starter deck. We played we have played every single starter deck.
One now.
And they're
tier list coming out soon.
They're all unique and interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this card, so the cards, or the way Shadowverse works, okay, is this also is a digital game. The digital game has been out for a while. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years.
The digital game has 8 classes, I think.
Yeah.
And the physical Shadowverse Evolve only has 6 classes.
Yep.
Okay. So this card, okay, we're gonna throw this card up. Right. It is Titania's Sanctuary. So Titania's Sanctuary is a forest craft card. Okay, so that's one of the classes. Okay,
Yes.
so this is a gold rarity card. Okay, and it costs 2 resources. Okay, and it has a fanfare, which essentially means it's an ETB. Okay, and it says give each pixie token on your field +1/+1, +1 attack, +1 defense. And then it says, while this card is on your field, your pixie tokens have a sail. I forgot about that when we were playing our game.
Whoopsie.
A sail means your pixie tokens
creatures.
can attack unexhausted cards. Because in Shadowverse Evolve, you can either attack your opponent directly or your opponent's leader, or exhausted units on the field.
Yep.
Okay, you cannot attack unexhausted units. Okay. Again, kind of that's similar to a lot of games. Okay. And then this also says, so a sail means you can attack unexhausted ones. And then also has whenever a pixie token is put onto your field, give it +1/+1. Okay. So when I read this card, because of course I picked the green deck, right? Because I know Jim didn't want to play the green deck. All right. So I said, Jim, I will play the green deck. All right. It's not a problem. Don't worry about it. I got you. So I was flipping through the cards, and then I read this card. And so for those of you watching, all right, you'll see my face. Okay, this is literally what my face did when I read the card. I went, "All right," I could not believe this was a card. And turns out this is the same card in another class as well. I think it's called Royal Banner, and it's like in a tier 0 deck as well.
4-cost card.
Oh, it is a 4-cost card. This is only 2.
Yeah.
And so this is an amulet, okay, which it's essentially an enchantment, okay. Jim, what did you think when I put this card down?
Dude, I was like, what the was that?
So the interesting thing, and I like this about Shadowverse, okay? Shadowverse as a game is you can only have 5 cards on your field at a time, okay? So with Shadowverse Evolve, it's your field, and then there's this EX area, which essentially it's an extension of your hand, right? But your EX area can also hold only 5 cards, okay? There are other cards that are really cool, which interact with those zones. And anyway, so if Titania's Sanctuary is out on board, yes, it actively uses a slot, right? So again, what I think is, you know what I just thought of is Marvel Snap. Like this is kind of like Marvel Snap from the standpoint of you have limited space on your board, right? So I like
why
that.
I didn't say Yu-Gi-Oh.
Because I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. It's right. You were the one who told me about that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I didn't. I totally forgot about that.
5 monster zone, 5 spell and trap zone.
So it's basically the same.
Yeah.
It's basically.
I plan on using a Yu-Gi-Oh mat whenever we play Shadowverse.
Oh really? Yeah. So again, somebody who's played Yu-Gi-Oh, somebody who has not played Yu-Gi-Oh, right? It's our references are very different, right? So this is an insanely. So, because when I first read this card, like I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to play this on an open board, right? Because I didn't want to play it on an open board because I lose out on the fanfare. But again, I just read the fanfare, right? So as I kept reading it, I'm like, it literally doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I will miss out on that. I don't care. Let me get those. Because as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? His deck probably has nothing that can touch an amulet anyway. So why not? And true, every time I got this out on board, because I played this twice, he didn't touch it at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And every single time we played the starter decks, it was everyone won a game and everyone lost a game. And we did it twice for all of them. Yeah.
So a very small sample size, but still.
Perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
as all things
But
should
yeah,
be.
oh man, it was the second game I remember you playing this. You play on turn 2, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm going first.
It was funny. No, but you got to back up though, because
game 1. Okay, yeah, we'll talk game 1.
Because when I drew my opening hand, right, you were like, you have it in your hand, don't you?
Yeah. He's like, I'll keep. I'm like, he's got it.
And when he said it, I'm like, yeah, I got it. No, because I mold that hand away, right? Because I mold the first hand away. I think.
I don't think you did.
I mold a hand. I can't remember if it was that one or not.
Okay.
But yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was just like he gave all of the. Oh, and mind you, we first kind of messed up playing the card.
We did.
He gave
Which
all of
most
his
people
pixies.
do.
Yeah. You gave all of your pixies.
Yeah, I did.
Not just the
There were a
pixie
couple
tokens.
cards that we caught it. We did catch
Yeah.
it. It was late for one of them.
Yeah,
But
which at the end it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't have mattered.
no.
It was just too much damage.
Correct. Yeah.
And so it's just like getting so much of value off of this card. I'm like,
Dude, and this card only costs
goodness.
2.
I know
It costs 2.
It's so crazy costing 2. That's nuts. To be able to attack your readied things.
I know. I didn't even think. I didn't see that. Guys, I didn't read the card. I just talk about reading a book. I didn't read the card.
And then the 6-drop card in that deck to where it also gives your pixies rush.
Yeah.
2/2 swinging into your untapped card. Like,
Yep.
eat this. And then I have a bunch in my back row too. So it's just like, boop, boop, boop.
Because I think I
Destroy your
drew
board.
that in my opening hand too.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But Shadow, dude, I had a lot of fun playing that game.
It was a blast.
It
dude.
was so much fun.
I remember, so it was like a couple months ago when we were like, oh, what card games are we excited for?
Oh,
and like I
yeah.
say this, we went back and I saw Dan playing the digital card game.
Yeah.
And so I go download it and I'm like, I hate this. Like it was after we played the physical. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like the physical one so much.
Yeah.
more. And so it was just a great time playing it. Super glad we got this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Super glad.
Oh yeah. So that is Titania's Sanctuary. Now
Sanctuary.
I have a bunch of Shadowverse
Yeah,
cards
he's like,
here.
hey, I bought some Shadowverse
decks.
stuff.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have the. Actually, do I have? No, I'm not gonna go through all those. But yeah, I have a lot of Shadowverse cards now, guys. And we're gonna be playing some decks because I was looking at the meta to see like what decks are good. You can buy decks for pretty cheap for this game, I think. Yeah. So so that's good. If you're looking for a card game with some decently priced decks,
For now, you can buy them.
don't go play Lorcana because you can't get those decks are expensive. Dude, those decks are expensive.
Who would have thought?
I know,
You
right?
short print a game and everyone wants it.
Yeah.
Cards are expensive.
Cards are expensive.
Who would have thought?
Cards are expensive. Is Rapunzel still $50?
I think so.
I mean, I need a play set.
It hurts me.
It does. It very much does.
Especially since the place says it's 4 copies.
Yeah. Oh.
Ugh.
You know that meme about only buying. I just bought a deck.
Dude, Elsa's $800
For the Enchanted?
enchanted.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all right, yeah, Rapunzel's still $50.
Oh my goodness.
78 listings.
78 listings? And they're all $50
plus.
Wow.
Market at 56.
Wow.
Elsa Spirit of Winter, 32 doll hairs.
But that Rapunzel, oh man.
Wow.
Do I just need to bite the bullet?
Dan, do we even play this game?
Proxy it up. We'll proxy it up.
Wow. Dude, look at that Simba alt art. $181. Whoever sold that card was a genius, man. Dude's great.
Oh man. All right, so that is this week's card of the week, Titania's Sanctuary. Great card. So, all right, well, again, with that, we're gonna kick it back over to you guys. Let us know what you guys think. Again, let us know. I'm curious. Do you think lore is important in TCGs? Do you play a TCG because of the lore? Or are you just a mechanics person? Is that the only thing that you care about? So, yeah, with that, Jim, where can people find you on the internet?
Yes. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram at Jim Morgan, HNH.
You guys can find me on Twitter at _DG Campbell, Instagram, Daniel.G.Campbell. Head over to our website, www.hobbiesandhappiness.com. You can find links to all of our social content there, including our merch store. Don't forget, if you guys want to get yourself some sweet Hobbies and Happiness merch, you can do that now. I'm just excited that we have merch now.
I should get mine for free.
I didn't get mine for free. No, you should not get it. You should pay for like everybody else, Jim.
Oh, right.
All right. So yeah, go do that. Get yourself some merch. So again, yeah, that's all we got for you guys this week. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. And we've got a lot of sweet episodes planned for the podcast in the next couple weeks. So thanks everybody. We'll catch you in the next one. See you, everybody.
Take care.